Kirby Smart's secondary just got a lot better this week as top four-star cornerback commitment in the 23 class, Marcus Washington Jr. has announced that he is reclassifying to the 2022 class, meaning he will skip his senior season of high school football to join the Georgia Bulldogs this summer. This is a big deal for a number of reasons. Number one, he is at a position of need, right? At cornerback, they took a ton in the 22 class. This makes 6 total defensive backs signed in the 22 class and 4th cornerback that they're bringing in. So he's a guy who I had as the number 3 overall prospect in Georgia for the 23 class. Of course, now he reclassifies, skipping his senior season of high school, which is something we're seeing more and more of. But this is a kid with length. He's about 6 foot, maybe closer to 6'1", about 180 pounds. Has put on some mass and muscle since I first saw him when he committed to the Bulldogs about this time last year. And he's fast. The kid can run. He's one of the fastest DBs in the state of Georgia. Can help in the return game. He's great with the ball in his hands, but his size, length, natural cover skills, and his ability to run, the kid can absolutely fly, is what makes him one of the top defensive backs, not only in Georgia, but across the country for the 23 class. Of course, now he's going to be one of the young pups, right? One of the youngest guys on the roster this upcoming season. He's not a guy that I expect a lot from as a kid who should be playing high school football this fall, but there's a lot to like about his game. Again, when you're 6 foot, 6'1", and you can run like he can and put on some muscle, you're not afraid of contact. That's a lot of boxes that you check when you look for a big-time cornerback. So, in-state kid, Georgia legacy, right? His father played for Mark Richt in the mid to late 2000s, played linebacker, and he's now playing, or did play at Evans High School in the Augusta area, an area that's really starting to become a hotbed for talent. This guy's one of the best players in the area, and again, one of my top 3 players in the state of Georgia for the 23 class. So this is a big deal. They needed defensive backs. Again, they had an already stacked defensive back class before Marcus Washington joins. Now he's number 6, joining 5-star Dalen Everett, who's already on campus, 5-star cornerback Jaheim Singletary, 4-star cornerback, speedster, track star out of Texas, and Julian Humphrey, and now Marcus Washington. You've got guys with size and guys who can run. If you're Kirby Smart, Will Muschamp, Fran Brown, you have to be really, really excited about the young talent that you have on the roster moving forward. They also brought in 2 safeties, Ja'Cory Thomas, a 4-star from Florida, and of course 5-star safety Malachi Starks from right down the road at Jefferson. So this is one of the best defensive back classes that Kirby has brought in, which says a lot. And I think with the addition of Marcus Washington Jr., it's probably the best defensive back class across the country in the 22 class, stealing Dalen Everett away from Clemson when Brent Venables left, getting Jaheim Singletary, a former Ohio State commitment, to jump on board. Julian Humphrey is a guy that could have gone anywhere. I know he liked Florida a lot early in the process. He's a big-time player, again, who can run. Malachi Starks is one of the best players in the country. Ja'Cory Thomas, a big-time versatile defensive back, safety type out of Florida. So they knocked it out of the park. And the 23 class, I think, is not as deep and not as talented. And that was with Marcus Washington. I say that in the state of Georgia. But now they're going to look ahead. They still need to, bring in some quality defensive backs there. But as it relates to the team, Keely Ringo is the guy at cornerback, right? They still need someone to step up on the opposite end. Maybe it's one of the freshmen. That's not ideal. You'd like for it to be maybe Kamari Lassiter, Javon Bullard, Nyland Green, guys from the 2021 class who were in their second year, really starting to develop and learn the playbook, know what they're supposed to be doing. But those were guys that the staff loved. Nyland Green was excellent. Ball skills, size. He kind of has it all. We saw a little bit of that in the G-Day scrimmage when he picked off a pass from the trick play from Dominic Blaylock. So when you're Kirby Smart right now, especially what they did with the NFL draft, winning a national championship, they're kind of getting the guys they want. Marcus Washington Jr., an in-state kid. Remember, Georgia doesn't have to stay in-state. It's always good to lock down the state and get your top targets from the Peach State. But they go everywhere for guys. They have a cornerback in the 23 class, Justin Rhett from Las Vegas, right? Keely Ringo is from Arizona. Kamari Lassiter is from the state of Alabama. So they go everywhere, and they said, you know what, this is an in-state kid, Georgia legacy. I mean, they were never going to miss on him, right? He committed this time last year, middle of May, under Jamal Adai. He's no longer there, but it doesn't really matter. Marcus Washington Jr., again, his father was a Bulldog from the state of Georgia. He was going to Georgia no matter what, no matter who the coach was. As long as Kirby was there and they pushed for him, he was going to Georgia no matter who the defensive backs coach is. So Fran Brown kind of gets this one to fall into his lap a little bit, but he's a big-time player. Especially nowadays, if you can't cover bigger receivers on the outside, if you don't have length, you've got short arms, you're not going to cut it. And if you don't have speed, you can't match up with, guys you're going to see playing against, against Alabama, right? Who have electric, speedy wideouts year after year after year. You have to be able to cover the Devonta Smiths, the Jalen Waddles, the Jameson Williams, right? Those guys can run. They always have guys who can run. So if you want to play for Kirby Smart, you have to have length. You have to be able to run, and you got to play the ball. And Dalen Everett's a guy who had 8 interceptions his sophomore year before going to IMG Academy. Jaheim Singletary, crazy long arms. And we know what, again, what Nyland Green could do. And Marcus Washington is very similar. At the high school level, he can help you out catching the ball, and in the return game, not sure he's going to be returning punts or kicks in Athens, but he's got the ability to do so. The kid can run. He was a top 100 player in the country, maybe top 50 player in the country in the 23 class. Reclassifying, this has been in the works, has to have been for a few weeks now. He took his official visit to Georgia this past weekend. I guess that's when they really got everything straightened out and were able to get him to come on board and join the team this summer. So they just got better defensively. This kid can play. He might not be able to play as a freshman, but he's going to play at some point in his career, possibly be a multi-year starter, and you can't ask for much more than that. So in-state kid, Georgia legacy, can run, length, size, footwork, cover skills, instincts. This kid has it all. And he's now part of the 2022 class. Was one of the best 2023 commitments. That opens up a spot for another defensive back in that class. But 6 total defensive backs in the 22 class, 4 cornerbacks now with Marcus Washington Jr. in the fold. So I think this is good news. Getting him on campus is going to get him developed earlier, right? He wasn't going to get a whole lot better playing as a senior in high school over at Grovetown. So he's on campus now, gets to work out, gets to do his thing, and gets to improve by the day a lot quicker than he would have been if he were still playing in high school. So big deal, big news for the Georgia Bulldogs. Marcus Washington Jr. reclassifying to the 2022 class. Guys, thanks for watching this video. As always, stay tuned to the next one coming up right now, and I will see you over on the website.